Welcome to Up to the Minute. It is Thursday, December 17th. Welcome to the show. We've got your HCC news and information. We've got about 2 more days, well, a little less than 2 days till we take a bit of a break here at HCC. Stick around. We've got some great guests here in this episode. But as we've been mentioning all week, Brittany Pacheco's on an early vacation. She won't be back till next year. We've got Carolina Linares, who is here, one of our students, one of our success stories, and today she's the co-host of our show. Good morning to you, Carolina.
Good morning, Todd. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you with us. Now, I want you to check out our social media, Carolina, while we're doing the show. So if we have any questions, just pop on in and let us know. We'll get them answered. If you're watching us right now on Facebook, make sure you follow us in social media, find us on Twitter, and also, most importantly, on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. It's under Houston Community College, real easy to find. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. That way you can get notifications when shows like this are posted. All right, let's get to the show. Carolina, we'll be back with you in a little while. It's Thursday, which means it's Virtual Family Fun Thursday. Alison Bell is the executive director from the Heritage Society at Sam Houston Park, and she's joining us live this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We're looking forward to talking with you and hearing what you have going on at Sam Houston Park. Stick around. We will talk with you in just a few moments. But first, we feature HCC guests every one of our shows. This morning is no exception. We're going to talk, we've been talking, a lot over the past few weeks about our Center of Excellence for global energy. And right now we've got Farrish Betton. And Farrish, you're the program coordinator for Petroleum. Good to see you. We can get you to unmute your microphone, if you would, please. There we go. Nope, can't hear it. Still not unmuted. Look to the bottom left and just hit the button with the microphone on it. And we're still not unmuted. So let's see if we can do it one more time.
How's that?
There we go. Yeah, you got it now. Farrish,
all right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Todd.
Let's talk about the oil and gas business. We know that many of these jobs are well paid. We know they take a lot of training, and HCC has a lot of courses that are available. But do market conditions obviously affect the jobs right now? And, you hear so much about oil industry jobs going away, but obviously they're still there as well because we're training people and they're getting employed.
That's correct. What's happening there, Todd, in the oil business is that has always happened. It's a supply and demand. In order to really understand the business, you really have to understand the infrastructure of the business itself. The oil business, there are 5 sub-segments of the business. We have the exploratory phase where we go and locate it and find it. And then we have there's a production, drilling and production. And then in production, that's getting the oil to the refinery. The refinery refines it into products that all of us wear and eat and things like that every day. And we checked this morning and it seems like the market is beginning to come back up. It was at $33 a barrel back about 6, 7, 8 months ago. But now today is about $48.38. So it's beginning to come back up again. And what we do, the way we read that is we say, okay, we have to stay lined up with industry. That's what we've been doing at HCC for the last 8 to 9 years, so that as industry, if there's a move in industry, we'll be able to advise our students who are going to be finishing exactly how to posture themselves and get jobs.
One thing I hear, I've got a lot of friends who work in the oil industry, and I watch them on Facebook and follow them in social media. And my father was in the oil industry. In fact, that's why I'm here in Houston. He moved here from New Orleans back in the 70s, brought me along and my brother as well. And so I'm my family was in the oil industry. I always hear it seems like it varies. But from your own personal standpoint and your opinion on this, what is the bottom dollar on the price of oil per barrel to where everyone can make a little bit of money. You can sustain income. You can sustain the industry. The oil companies can make a bit of a profit, and everybody can profit from that. What is the bottom dollar in your opinion? Because I know when it's down to like $19, $20 a barrel, that's not good for the industry.
Not good for the industry, but it's super for the refineries.
Yeah.
And usually what they'll do is that they'll buy in advance and store in their tanks. That's why you see so many tanks along the seawall, there in Texas. But I would say my experience is I would say if we could see $70, $75 a barrel is where everybody can make a little bit of money as a directive. And that's my own subjective opinion.
But that means we're as consumers, we're going to be looking at what, two and a quarter per gallon.
I would say in some instances about $2, $1.90, $1.95, $2, somewhere in there. Yeah.
You always hear about the terms upstream and downstream. Maybe you could talk about that terminology and what it means in the oil industry.
Easy. What we do is that let's take a look at the 5 segments of the business. We have geology, which is locating the oil. Then you got to get the legal right to explore for it. That's box number 2, if you want to call that. Box number 3 is drilling and completion, where you have to drill the well. Completion is equipping the well so that you can get the oil from 2 or 3 miles below the Earth's surface to the surface. Then once you get it to the surface, the upstream end is finished. We now go into the midstream. Midstream is producing the oil, getting the oil, transporting it, mainly transporting it via the supply chain to the refinery or wherever it needs to go. And then the last one, that's midstream, that is downstream. Downstream is refining. So we got upstream, we have midstream and downstream.
I know everyone thinks the oil industry right now has been at least for the last 9 months, been having issues because of COVID. But realistically, this started before COVID hit with the cyclical pattern of the oil industry. Maybe you can talk about that, but also how COVID has, though, affect the process.
Well, if you're downstream, refining and marketing, COVID's been a blessing because they have needed PPE, all kinds of products that are made. All those products are made from oil. We don't hear much about it, but again, that should be a boom for the refining industry. So that's kind of how, and then when they manufacture the vaccine, the containers that the vaccine is in, that's also made from oil as well. So I would say that it has pretty much impacted the oil industry in a positive manner, so to speak.
And let's talk about a few things. First off, price wars. How does that affect us? We produce a lot of oil in the United States. We're leading the world right now. But when you have a price war between, say, Russia and Saudi Arabia, how does it affect us here in America?
Well, that gets into politics of oil. Those countries, if you notice, wherever there's a war in a country, there's oil. If there's no oil there or any natural resource that's naturally easy to get to, or somewhat easier to get to, they usually don't have any wars. So that's the first thing. But then when you see these going on, like between Russia and those, a price war, that affects the whole industry all over the world. Because the oil was first manufactured here in the US in 1859. That was the first oil well. Okay, you got infrastructure and pipelines and things built globally for over 100 years. And so the thing is that, and all these things are interconnected price-wise. So if you have a problem in one part of the world, like we did here a few months back, where the refining, they wanted to pay to take it, oil was negative, negative
I remember
price.
The barrels cost more.
Yes. And so I said, well, That's a new one. But the thing is that that was a political infighting going on there. And the two countries, they finally settled it. Like I said, oil is going back up to $48.38 today per barrel.
Yeah.
But the reason
that's good news though for folks here in the Houston area who are, are in the industry. Let me ask you this, Farrish, because I know we have a lot of students who are looking to go into the oil industry. The jobs are still there. It sounds like from what you're saying, the processing and the refineries, those are the ones that are having good times right now. Are those the jobs that our students are going into, and what are the ones that you would suggest?
Well, what we do is that we try to show our students, we try to take them individually because everybody's different. Some students still want to go into drilling. They just love it. Other students love geology. And so when they tell us where the heart is, then we'll try to fashion the curriculum. I myself, I try to fashion my instruction, so that the student will not only learn geology, but when they need to transfer that skill to another industry per se, they can do that. And so that's kind of the way that we treat each student at HCC Northeast.
Farrish, Betton, we appreciate you being here today and telling us about the Global Energy Center of Excellence. If you'd like to learn more about the jobs and the possibilities there and the programs we're here to have at HCC, we're going to put some pertinent links in the social media posts for the show. Thanks for being here. Stay safe, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Real good. Same to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to Alison Bell of the Heritage Society. Now, Alison, one thing I know about Sam Houston Park, people may think the Raceway. We're not talking that. We're talking the park downtown Houston. And I've been there a number of times. Most of the time, a lot of races are staged in that area, especially for the fun runs around Houston. But you guys manage the park and especially the historic homes that are there, correct?
Yes, correct. We started the Heritage Society in 1954 by saving one house called the Kellum Noble House, built in 1847. The city, after it had been the first Houston Zoo and the first Houston Parks Department, the city was going to tear it down. And a couple of civic activists came to rescue it and started the Heritage Society by showing off that historic home. And then they've moved in 9 more subsequently since then.
Now, a lot of folks may go to the park and they're like, wow, this is beautiful. I didn't know all these homes were on the edge of downtown Houston. You guys moved them there, correct? Or was one of them, you said one of them originally, so all of them have been moved there, correct?
All except the first one, still in its original location. But yes, the other 9 were moved here, but they're all from Houston and they all have a wonderful story to tell, different cultures that were in Houston in the 1800s.
And tell me about, I know every year you guys are famous for your Candlelight Tours.
Yes.
It's been a Houstonian tradition for many families going there and lining up for the tours. This year, you're having to do something different.
I know. Sadly, we didn't feel comfortable having people crammed in some of those smaller houses. So we had an open holiday market. It was supposed to be in our park outdoors, but the weather wasn't very kind to us. So we did move it into a ballroom and it was just more of a shopping experience.
And tell us what you've been doing online, especially with your educational series on Facebook.
Sure. So we too started a Facebook series, a live Facebook on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. And we invite local historians to come talk about Houston history. Some of the ones that stand out are Robert Sakowitz. He was on our show recently talking about the Sakowitz stores for those who are familiar with that department store and how it began in Galveston and moved to Houston. We also had Mike Acosta, who's the historian for the Houston Astros, and he brought some of the old uniforms and all the history of the Astrodome. So that was fascinating. So we've tried to remain relevant and educate the public about Houston's history while we're closed.
Yeah, Sakowitz, boy, that's some rich history there. I remember those stores very well. And when I was a young man, that was the actual first credit card I ever got was from was from Sackway, you know, and
yeah.
so I was a shopper there when I was in my late teens.
Me too.
You also did something for the 100-year anniversary of women's right to vote. Tell us how you celebrated that and what did that involve?
Sure. So we were planning that and it was going to open in March, but because of COVID, we pushed it back. But we had some local historians co-curate the exhibit to celebrate the 19th Amendment of the women's right to vote. We opened it in August. It's called Houston Women Cast Their Ballots, and it is in our museum, and we are open a few days a week to see the exhibit. However, if people aren't comfortable coming downtown, we do have a virtual tour on our website where they can actually walk through the exhibit and they get a booklet that tells all the panels on the wall.
Your offices, are they still located in that area? From what I remember, they were just a bit off the site, closer to, I think, the City Hall area.
Yes, our offices face Bagby Street, and right now Bagby Street is under construction, so that's another hindrance that we're having to deal with. But when that's finished, it's going to be beautiful. We hope to maybe open a restaurant down on this west side of town, because I know the east end of downtown is done so well with Discovery Green. So we're hoping to move all the activity over here and open back up, hopefully in early spring.
What are some of the, you know, you have such interesting houses there, and maybe do you have any interesting factoids about some of the houses you could throw out there? Things
Sure.
that maybe surprised you?
Absolutely. One of our first houses after the Kellum Noble was the Nichols Rice Cherry House, and that actually belonged to William Marsh Rice. First, it was owned by his business partner, Mr. Nichols. Then Mr. Rice purchased it, lived there with his wife, Margaret. It was located near the George R. Brown, actually kind of in the Montrose area. And then when he died, you know, he was poisoned by his butler.
Wow.
And when he died, the house went on the auction block, and a woman named Emma Richardson Cherry purchased it. And she was a local well-known artist, one of the founders of the MFA, and she opened an art studio for kids there. So that's a fascinating house. We also have the Jack Yates house, and you're familiar with Antioch Baptist Church and Jack Yates, Yates High School. He was very instrumental in Freedmanstown, and we have his house that he and his brothers built. It's here in our park.
When these houses are moved, is it like a traditional moving of a house that you are transporting on these tractor trailers, or do you have artisans that deconstruct part of the houses and reconstruct them there? How did that happen?
For the most part, they were all moved with Cherry Demolition and Cherry Moving. They've been around Houston for years. They moved all of our houses. However, the largest one and the most recent one, built in 1905, had to be cut in half and moved on a truck. It was over in the Westmoreland district, and they had to literally cut it in half to move it here. And so it was a fascinating.
The church, how big of a task was it to move that there?
Oh, I love the church. The church was built in 1891. It was over on Mangum and 290. And that too, they only had to take off the belfry, the top part of where the bell is located. But other than that, they placed it exactly the way it was facing over on Mangum Road. So it's beautiful. We host weddings there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that stands out whenever you go down there. Have you reopened officially to the public? You mentioned something about having people there, but have you reopened officially?
Yes, we did reopen. We're open Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. We tried to be open on the weekends, but not many people were coming downtown on the weekends, probably due to construction. So we're open Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then, of course, we have the virtual tour. And our gift shop is all online now, too.
Okay. Alison Bell, we appreciate you being here and telling us about the Heritage Society at Sam Houston Park. If you're interested in finding their Facebook series, we'll have some links in the social media posts for the show where you can visit their website and support them through these troubling times we're all in. But I know you're excited to have people down there again.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here this morning.
Sure.
All right, we're going to move on to Carolina, our co-host for this morning. Carolina, good morning again. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Todd. Well, we have some great announcements. Houston Community College is launching an anonymous survey to assess the college's openness to a smoke and tobacco-free environment. You can check out a QR code on the district Facebook page. And we also have continuing education classes. From accounting to welding, HCC's School of Continuing Education has launched classes that start weekly and monthly. You can check out the schedules at hccs.edu/CE.
That's right. So also we've got something going on with our talent engagement, reminding faculty and staff about resources that are available during this time off, especially during the winter break. We've got drug and alcohol prevention, employee assistance programs, sense of belonging and connectedness webinar, and a COVID-19 essential resources for faculty and staff. Make sure you check your emails and our website for more information. And Carolina, a lot of folks may be, a lot of our students may be worried about paying for school in the spring, but HCC offers payment plans.
Well, I have taken this advantage at HCC. It has helped tremendously. There are options available to help cover the cost for spring. And for help with choosing the payment options that works for you, you can visit the link in our post below, or you can just go to the virtual lobby on our HCC website. And also,
our financial aid, yeah, they're in full swing as well.
Yes, of course. The financial aid office is accepting in-person appointments. No walk-ins. Go online to book an appointment, or you can also visit the hccs.edu FinAid contact link. And all of our links are going to be in our social media, in our post after the show.
Carolina, are you doing anything over the holiday break?
Yes, I'm going to visit my sister again in Indiana. Hopefully we're not going to get in a lockdown so I can come back home, not just like last time. Remember, I was working remotely.
I know, I was going to ask you about that. For people who aren't aware of this, they may have not seen your story, but tell us what happened. You went away for spring break, and what happened?
So I went away for spring break, and everything wasn't as hard for COVID, and we went into a lockdown and airports closed. So I was hoping to come back to Houston to start working at HCCTV and also take my classes. But no, I had to stay there, and I took my computer. I was able to work and take my classes, but it was a challenge.
How long were you there for the amount of time?
I think a month, Todd. I think it was a month.
So you were trapped there more or less for a month. I guess, had you been to Indiana before? And I imagine you got to know it very well.
Yes. I was living in Columbus. It's a really small town, but I visited Indianapolis and everything. Yeah, we didn't have a lot to do. So I mostly went to the state parks in my car to just breathe fresh air.
Wow. So for those of you who work for HCC, if you're faculty or staff or our students watching now, as you know, we have a winter break coming up. It starts on December 21st, which means tomorrow is our last day. Our holiday begins the end of the day tomorrow. Staff returns Monday, January the 4th, but that's a long time away right now. Up to the Minute will also return Monday, January 4th. We'll be having some short reports that week because a lot of things aren't in full swing. A lot of faculty and staff may have not made it back yet, or just getting ready for the next semester. But we're going to be promoting spring registration. So we're going to be meeting with some of our presidents, talking with some people all through that week. So we'll have very short reports the mornings on December or January the 4th of 2021. Classes resume January 19th. And Carolina, I know that you know, because I think you were taking part in this promotion, that we have a special promotion for our students right now.
Yes, you have to secure your seat, because if you register for spring by January the 8th, you may win swag, bookstore gift cards, and even iPads. And you can visit the virtual lobby for all your enrollment needs, or visit the link below, hccs.edu/now.
And I think you're also recording a video message as well, aren't you?
We have some promotion going on YouTube, and yes, I did. It's secure your seat, and you can watch those on YouTube as well.
We have we're starting the next semester, and we're planning on the 4 different ways of learning. Of course, we have 2 ways of learning instruction with our courses where they're online completely. Maybe you can tell us about the first 2 options, Carolina.
Yes, the first option is going to be online anytime. As it sounds, you can take the classes online at any time. And the second option is on a schedule. So you're also online, but you have to log in at a specific time, and you can select that time.
We also have two other options. One of them are Flex Campus, and the other are lab-based courses. Now, as you know, we're following CDC guidelines. The class sizes are very small, which means students, you want to register ahead of time. Make sure you do it now. Don't wait till the last minute, because you can get the time and the professor that you wish to choose, and you have a lot more choices. So register today. Of course, the lab-based courses, as mentioned, the labs are going to be very small, following CDC guidelines. So as a result, they fill up very quickly. So make sure you sign up for your labs early, and you can do that today by going to hccs.edu/now. And you can also keep in mind, students, because we're doing things virtually, we still have all of our support services available. As you heard earlier, financial aid is taking some in-person appointments, but you can always reach them online. You can also get tutoring online, student life's available, career and counseling services, advising. Everything is available online. Where do you go? Make sure you go to the student virtual lobby. You can reach that by just going to our website and clicking on the virtual lobby. You can get an email, a phone call where somebody will call you back, or you can join them live in a Zoom room. Carolina, before we go and wrap up the show, I want to ask you, you guys started something new in the last few months during COVID, and it's something called the Student Lounge. Maybe you can tell us about this show and what it's all about.
Oh, yeah. So we have at the HCCTV some students, we work part-time, and we decided to start a show that was supposed to start at the studio. So remotely, we are having a weekly show where we invite guests, and we have different topics. We have some top news of the week, and we also have some entertainment. So we give you some movies or shows that are related to the topic, and you can visit that on YouTube or on TV.
Yeah, so we're showing it on HCCTV. You can find it on YouTube under our YouTube channel for Houston Community College. And you guys also post it on Facebook as well.
Yes, you can also check it out on Facebook, and please share it, because we're trying to grow our audience, and this is from students to students. So we understand what are your needs and what you want to learn. So just check it out and let us know if you want to be a guest in our show as well.
Absolutely. Carolina, thanks for being here, filling in for Brittany today. Have a great holiday break. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much, Todd. It's always a pleasure. It's been a while, so you can invite me anytime.
All right. Thanks, Carolina. So tomorrow on the show, we're going to be continuing to focus on our centers of excellence, and we're going to have Janet Farrish. She is with the Banking in Finance program, and she's the coordinator of that program. We'll hear about that. They're with our Business Center of Excellence. And of course, it's Friday, which means Dr. Jimmy Adams is to be joining us with a piece of poetry. He's our resident poet, but he's also the Chief Operations Officer over at HCC Northeast College. So we'll hear what's going on at the Northeast College. And most importantly, it's our last day of 2020 for the show, for HCC. We're going on a bit of a break. We'll have more about that tomorrow. Thanks for being here on the show. We'll see you live tomorrow, 10 a.m. on Up to the Minute.